Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about our 5 favorite travel accessories for 2025. All right, so right off the bat, I'm just going to kind of talk about a few things here. None of this is sponsored. We haven't been paid to talk about any of these things. These are just things that we have found that worked for us on travel, so hopefully they will work for you. I also want to share some of these things because I think some of these things are pretty cool products, but we are going to try to link as many of these down below as we can. Most of those links are probably going to be Amazon affiliate links. Obviously, if you can't find it on Amazon, I'll just link directly to the product manufacturer's website. But if you do decide to buy one of these through the affiliate links below, it will help us travel more in the future and it'll help pay for some of our trips coming up. All right, so I'm gonna start with item number 5 here, and I'm gonna talk about this Power Donut Connect. Now, if you've seen any of our packing videos before, you've probably seen this object, and I absolutely love this. This has saved my butt so many times when we've been traveling, especially when you go to a lot of different countries and you're trying to charge a lot of different camera gear like we do. We're always bringing stuff, we're always having to charge tech and gear and stuff like that, and it's often really hard to find enough outlets to plug everything into. And furthermore, sometimes in like the European countries, they only have like a single outlet available to you, so it makes it kind of hard to charge multiple items. Well, this is this Mojix. Hopefully I'm saying the brand name correctly, but it's called like a super bagel, and it has multiple outlets on the side here. Now it may not look like that, and so I'll try to show all of these side things to the camera. This is what has a bunch of different adapters on the side. It even has 2 USB ports to charge from. So it has a standard USB-C charger. I think this thing is only like 18 watts, so it's not gonna be able to charge a laptop very quickly, but in a pinch, it comes in handy. You can quickly plug your laptop in or quickly plug your cell phone in, and it's plenty fast enough to charge that. I also carry a standard Anker brick that I just plug in here that's much bigger, and then Kayla can plug in stuff as well. So if we need to charge 2 laptops, 2 camera batteries, an extra battery for like a GoPro or something, this is the perfect solution to do that. The only downside is, and I say this as a downside, the only downside is it's ungrounded. So that makes it a little bit difficult to use anything that's like higher power. So if you're trying to like use a kettle or something, you probably don't want to use this anyways, but it is something that's fairly helpful for us and has allowed us to get through some sticky situations. It also comes with this quick adapter in the center. I think it does US, European plugs. I think it also does Australian plugs, and I think UK plugs, and it converts them all into US plugs in the front. Once again, this is also ungrounded, so if you have any like high powered things that need a grounded outlet, you can't do that. But I love this because it fits in a nice tiny package. If I can get this thing to go in, oh, I have to unlock it. There's a safety lock on there. It's on the back, it's in red, and it keeps the plugs out so they don't accidentally pop out or connect at the same time. So this works great for pretty much all European plugs. So even if I don't need the full brick, I can just pop this part out of it and plug in my adapter to that. So while it's not the coolest piece of tech, it's definitely very handy, and I highly recommend getting one of these if you're planning on traveling overseas. This is definitely kind of a lifesaver, especially in some of those hotel rooms where you may only have 1 or 2 plug. All right, so the next thing I'm going to talk about here is one of my absolute favorites. I've put it in the number 4 slot because I think that there's a few other items that are a little bit better than it, but this is an absolutely phenomenal bag. You've probably seen this in our Japan videos, you've seen this in any of our other vlogs, so if you've watched us for a little bit, you've definitely seen this bag, but I absolutely love this sling bag. It does come and fit inside of the Peter McKinnon like 45-liter backpack, so if you have a really big backpack, you can slide this into the top. I've also fit this into a Wondered bag. It's very tight in the Wondered like 31-liter bag, but you can fit it in there. But this bag is absolutely phenomenal for when you get to a destination and you don't want to walk around a big city with your backpack on, with all of your camera gear in the back. This is the easiest, quickest way that I have found to carry around a full-size camera with an extra lens and extra batteries. And not draw a lot of attention to yourself. You can also carry the camera outside and then put like a extra drink or extra water on the inside. So this bag is absolutely phenomenal for that. And I wish more companies would come out with bags that nest inside of other travel bags, because oftentimes we get to a travel location and we have to like check our bags in, or we have to drop our bags at the hotel, because you obviously don't want to be walking down the street with your luggage or anything like that. So as quick as we can drop bags and switch to a lighter, more like everyday carry around bag, this is phenomenal for that. I will link this one. I think this is available on Amazon, but I highly recommend getting this if you're looking for a quick bag to carry around. I also love the inside compartment of this. Unbelievably spacious and has plenty of room for everything. You can even fit in, I'm going to try to show it to you here, but there is 2 pockets here that you can fit filters for your bag. You even have an extra zip pocket on the inside of this that you can slide like a cleaning cloths or anything else that you need. It's got some nice, like larger stretch pouches that you can fit some batteries in. And it even comes with this nice like bag divider. So you can put your camera on one side and then an extra lens on the other side, or like just your camera and your lens and like an extra GoPro or something like that. But it's absolutely great. Also has attachment straps on the bottom so that you can zip up your jacket. If you're bringing like a rain jacket, you can just roll it into like a pack loop and just slide it in. It also slides over the back of like a luggage thing. It's got like a luggage pass through, but this is one of the best design bags. It also has this like quick like, I'm finding all these features, like refining them as I talk about it, but it's an unbelievably like convenient bag to have. It's not so big. I think it's about 8 liters if I remember correctly, but this is my go-to bag when I'm walking around a city, especially when you're walking around with camera gear. It always can get a little bit awkward, especially in cities that may have like higher crime rates. You got to be a little bit careful carrying around some of the camera gear. But this is a perfect way, because if you ever get into like a situation where you don't want to be showing all that off, you can just quickly zip this thing up, put your camera away, and just walk around, and it's just kind of like a standard bag. Nobody looks twice at it. It's just black. It's got a little bit of like a water repellent cover on here. So obviously I wouldn't take it out in like a monsoon, but if it's just like a light drizzle, or maybe even like a slight downpour, you could probably get away with this. I also like the way that this attaches. It's got a 3-point attachment. So if you do need to move, I've twisted this up. So I also like the way that this attaches. It's got a 3-point attachment so that you can essentially wrap this around your front or your back, and you can snap this in and it goes right over your shoulder. Works very well for that. I like this because you can quickly just throw this on your back, zip this up. You can't rotate this around, but this does when you're kind of running, or you got to run through an airport, or you got to move pretty quick to catch a train. This is a great little thing that can just kind of sit on your shoulder. It's got a nice little padded thing, so even if you do have like a heavier camera in there, or a bigger bottle of water, or something slightly more heavy, it's still padded on your shoulder, so you can quickly take this to about anywhere. So one of my favorite bags. I've had it for about 2 years now. It's held up about as best as I think any bag can hold up to the torture that I subject my bags to. But if you're interested in this one, I'll have that link down below. Okay, yeah, so the next thing that I'm going to talk about in the number 3 spot is the Nomatic Travel Jacket. I actually don't know the proper name for this, but this is a jacket that I got last year, and I've been wearing it when I travel, especially when I travel on planes. I love the fact that it goes into like a small pillow size. This is absolutely great. Like I was talking about that bag earlier, and this is a perfect thing that you can quickly, zip on the bottom of this bag. And just buckle this in. Obviously I would have 2 around there, but you can buckle this in and just have this bag. So if you're going just for a day trip somewhere, you can easily bring a mostly waterproof, slightly warmer jacket with you. But it's nice and small. It fits in almost any bag. If you're trying to get a quick nap in a hotel, or on a plane or on a train, just trying to sleep, they have 2 sides to it. They have a nice soft fluffy side, which is great. but they also have like the more water resistant side. So I guess if you're a little sweaty or something, you could use that side, but absolutely great jacket. It quickly unfolds into a full-sized jacket. Just give me a second here as I unfold this. Once again, a lot of amazing engineering has gone into this, and you know, as an engineer myself, I love to see all of the like textile and different industries and their style of manufacturing. As you can see, this fabric is not like a Gore-Tex fabric, so it's not like fully waterproof, but if it's just drizzling or misting outside, I think you could get away with it for a short period of time. But anything more than that, it will definitely get wet and will start to soak through. So it's more of like a travel jacket, more of like a Plan B jacket, but it's something that I've brought with me on almost every trip for the last few years. Actually, not the last few years, but for the last year, I've brought this, and I absolutely love this. There's a bunch of little features on here, and I know that I can't go through them all without making this video all about this jacket, but one of the top things is the pocket that it folds into also has a bunch of small, tiny pockets inside of it. So if you're just like, you know, taking a video and you need to have a slot for your like memory cards, you got to take some out, or you got some extra batteries, you can quickly kind of toss them in your front chest pocket. Also filters. I always run into this problem with filters where it's like you don't have enough hands to hold the filters, you don't have enough pockets to hold the filters, but this is just large enough and it's got a little bit of elastic to it. You can easily slide a filter in here, or if you just had some quick paperwork that you need to get in, slide in there. It's very easy, put your passport in there, you zip that right up, it's absolutely great. Has the standard 2 pockets here, left and right sides. The pockets also have that nice like, I don't know what I would call it. It's more of like a soft, like microfiber cloth that you could use to like wipe off your lenses and stuff like that. Works great for like most of the basic stuff. Obviously it has a hood. It's a very nice jacket. But the last thing that I want to mention, and this is probably the most important part. Now, if you're anything like me and you know, you go from like, you know, waiting on a train platform to like trying to quickly catch another train, or you've got to like make it a short distance to catch a bus, or you're running through the airport because your plane landed 30 minutes late and you only had 45 minutes to make your next plane. That's happened to us a lot recently. It has some nice like breathable armpit pockets. So if you sweat at all, unfortunately, like I do, these are great that you don't have to get off the jacket right away. You'll still get a lot of airflow in and you won't out sweat this jacket. So this allows you to kind of keep this jacket on a little bit longer, even if it's probably in like the high 60s, you could probably keep this on, which is absolutely great. So yes, this definitely takes the number 3 spot for our top travel gear of 2025. And absolutely great jacket, and I will be bringing it with me on all of my future trips. So I'm going to talk about my number 2 choice. My number 2 choice is this Lark, I think that's how you say it, L-A-R-Q water bottle. This was an absolute game changer for us in South America. When we were spending some time in South America, it's sometimes hard to get fresh water. Even if you can get fresh water, it's often really hard to find out like where that water came from, if it's treated, if it's filtered. You know, it's not to say that that water is necessarily bad, but my stomach is not used to the bacteria and viruses and protozoa and all the stuff that is in that water. Like the locals might be very used to that type of water, and they might not get sick from it, but I might get sick from it. So this is a very, very interesting bottle because it does 2 things, which I've always wanted a water bottle that does this. But the first is it will actually treat the water with a UV light. So you can kind of see the blue light there and then the white ring around. But that will basically indicate that the UV light is on the inside of that. That's good for 2 reasons. Not only does it purify the water and basically kill any bacteria or viruses in the water, but it also cleans this water bottle. So if you ever had one of those like old steel things and, you know, after a few days it starts to smell musty and stuff like that, that's typically because there's bacteria and stuff growing inside of that. So you typically have to wash it out so that, you know, you don't end up ingesting all of that bacteria. Most of the time it won't cause a problem, but every once in a while you may find yourself in a very bad situation because you managed to get yourself sick because you forgot to clean your water bottle. But this is great because it will also keep the inside of the water bottle clean. So 2 features there. All right, so the next thing that I'm going to talk about is the filter that is in here. So I don't know if I would trust a filter this small without this UV light, because normally I like to see filters that have lots of pleats, but this seems like a very good kind of secondary filtration method. So it comes with a little filter. As you can see, it's a little wet. Yeah, so there's a water filter that goes inside of this that will also filter the water. And those are for things more that we taste more. So that's things like, you know, the tannins in the water, or tonics, tannics. I'm not 100% sure how to say that, but that's like that brown color that makes, you know, water not taste as good. It also has like any lead or heavy metals that, you know, the UV light's not going to change the content of the water. It will kill the bacteria, it will kill the viruses, but it will not necessarily remove any elements from the water. So that's what that filter does. I think it's good for like 100 and some gallons, which is great. But you know, I could easily fill this up water from a fresh stream. Actually, that's what we did in South America. You know, when we were on some of our longer hikes, we quickly filled up this water bottle with cold glacier water, tossed this thing in, turned on the filter, made sure that there's no bacteria and no viruses in there, and then filtered out any heavy sediments or like heavy metal particles that, you know, could potentially poison you over time. So this is a very, very neat product. Very happy with it. One of the other key features is charges with USB-C. One of my absolute favorites, and it's really easy to drink out of. It's just kind of a straw system. It doesn't create a lot of suction, and you don't have to really suck really that hard, but very good, very well designed. Highly recommend. It's worked great for us in some travel situations, and I will be continuing to travel with water bottles like this, because sometimes you get that airport water. Everybody knows it's supposed to be treated, supposed to be well taken care of, but you know, sometimes those water fountain water that just doesn't taste right. It tastes like something's off. So this is a great option for kind of ruling that out. All right, so the last thing that I'm going to talk about is definitely near and dear to my heart, and it's photography. Now, I've done a review on this camera before, but this is something that has brought back the love of photography for me. Obviously, I've spent a lot of time getting into video lately when I make the videos for the channel, and everything I do is pretty much revolving around video, and I kind of moved away from photography, but this camera brought that back for me, and it's just small enough that I can easily fit it into my backpack. I don't have to bring a whole nother Sony body. I don't have to bring a whole nother set of lenses. It's got great film emulation, really tiny. It's easy for me to fit in like a jacket pocket if I need to. So if I'm taking video with a bigger camera, I can easily slide this into a pocket and I can still continue to take a video. And then if I need to just take a few photos, I can pull this out of my pocket and take it. Also, Fujifilm had like a deal a while back where they sent these like leather cases if you helped them like review their product. So it was really nice. It was like a $35 little accessory, and it's a nice like leather case. The only problem with it is it does make it kind of hard to change the battery. You have to go through a little bit more steps. Also, if you try to plug it in and charge the battery through the camera, it's blocked. You have to take the whole thing off. But overall, I think it adds a little bit of an aesthetic to the camera, a little bit more old school, but I absolutely love the convenience of this camera. I love the photography that you can get out of here. I love the image quality. I know that they have a bunch of other cameras coming out that are also going to have that film emulation. I know these X100 6s are still pretty hard to get, but they're definitely worth the wait. The high megapixel sensor is great for being able to crop in later, great for being able to like quickly post stuff on Instagram. You can also take some video with this too. So if you're in a pinch and you need to just take some like 35 millimeter, because it's a fixed lens, I think it's like a 35 millimeter focal equivalent. If you just need to take some of that quick video, you can on this. It's come in handy for us once or twice. Great camera. I love the colors that come out of this. And once you get a good film simulation recipe set up, you could really like consistently get good colors out of it, which is something that's actually fairly hard to do if you want to know the truth. Even with Lightroom, if you want to get like consistent colors across all like a set of images, it takes a lot of editing, and this camera takes a lot of that out. It makes it a lot easier just to kind of get those right out of camera. Now, obviously, it's not for professionals. You know, if you're shooting weddings for money or things like that, you know, this camera is not for you. But if you know, you like to travel and you want to go around the world and you had to pick one camera to take with you, obviously your cell phone could work, but this produces a much better image than what a cell phone could ever do, and it has a lot more like filmic quality and a little bit more traditional in that way. So this is the camera to buy if you just can only have one camera for the rest of your travel days. This would be what I would start with. All right, so that was the top 5 accessories. I guess I'll call them the top 5 travel accessories that we like the most in 2025. But I do have 2 more bonus ones for everybody who's made it this far in the video. And these are just kind of some of the honorable mentions that we have at the end here that have helped us kind of make content, make videos. And the first thing I'm going to talk about is the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. I know that this is blown up on the internet, and we bought ours a while back when it first came out. I thought I was kind of like a little bit late to the game, but I can still see that these are still very popular options. So if you are thinking more about making videos on your travels, or you want to take more like, you know, real-time like family videos and stuff like that, this is a great option for family videos and content creators alike, because you can essentially create whatever you want in a nice stabilized package. I also like this for situations where you need to go a little bit more low profile when you're trying to take videos. Sometimes in restaurants, pulling out like a big FX3 camera with a big Sony lens on the front and a microphone on top, that can draw a little bit too much attention to yourself. Whereas this is much more normal. People don't look twice at like handheld cameras, you know, because they're almost like a phone-sized camera. So, you know, this is just slightly better than iPhone quality. So, you know, obviously you can still use your iPhones if you want to take videos, but this is something that's a little bit more intentional. So if you're looking for something that, you know, will make your video making a little bit more intentional, a little bit more stabilized, you can kind of start to get into that creative world where you're setting your shutter speeds and like maintaining your ISO and, you know, setting your white balance and stuff like that. This is a perfect camera to kind of get into that. Now, I know that they're very expensive right now, especially with some of the pricing on these, but hopefully one day they will come back down to normal. But if you do have one of these, or you can get your hands on one of these for a reasonable price, they're a very good option for travelers. And so my last honorable mention, and this is probably like, I don't know, maybe the least cool item, but it has been a great thing for us to take to multiple countries. If you haven't traveled a lot, especially to Europe or some of the more like Asian countries, especially in Europe, there's a big movement to eliminate plastic bags. It's even happening in the US, where plastic bags are now either being an extra charge for buying them or for using them, as there should be. Obviously, we don't need any more single-use plastic in the world, but Peak Design has what is called a packable tote. So Kayla and I bought this before we went to Japan, and this was a great option for us to go into Japan, because you could easily go into the markets, you could buy single items, and then you could just throw them into this packable tote, which you could easily carry inside your back pocket, inside your coat pocket, but it allowed you to kind of have a nice full-sized bag, especially when we were in Europe and we just had to go down to the convenience store just to buy a few extra things of food. It works great as a grocery bag. And it's plenty big, it's plenty durable, it's mostly water resistant. Once again, it's not like a monsoon thing, it won't float in the water. But you know, if you're walking outside and it's raining, this will keep all of the goods inside of it dry. Definitely not something that I would sleep on. If you're, you know, planning on going to, you know, any of these places during the summer, to going to Japan or going to Korea, I would highly recommend just a quick packable tote that you could easily run to the store in and, you know, buy a couple bottles of water, buy some ramen, buy some sushi, whatever you're doing in the store, and you can easily check that out, and then you don't have to carry a plastic bag back. You can just toss it in here. hopefully that information was helpful, and if you like this video, we would appreciate a thumbs up. It kind of helps us determine what videos that we should make more of. We'd also appreciate it if you subscribed. We have a lot of content coming this year, and we've got some other interesting things. We just finished our South America series, so if you're interested in that, I will put a link at the end of the video. Also, we've got some more adventures coming this year. I'm not going to give them away yet, but if you subscribe, you'll be able to see some of our videos. All right, that's it for this one. Be kind, travel more.